humans are predisposed to negative emotion. It will tend to get our attention an overwhelming amount more than something like positive emotion. That is what influences phenomena like people hate watching YouTube videos or being weirdly entranced by weird gore videos online. We are drawn to this kind of content much stronger than any other kind, which I believe necessitates an unwinding, or letting go of this weird negativity, alongside a prevention of it in the first place. I say this because, as I have explained in my first video, an idle agitation occurs when we see or hear of graphic displays of negativity. For instance, if you take events on the news, which are pretty much almost entirely bombardments of negative content upon negative content, and see what happens to people after watching them for a while, they'll start to believe or internalize this negativity. And it's only natural, really, that when we show ourselves that the world is a hellscape which holds mass shootings and death and destruction around every corner, the climate's going to shit, that we would eventually behave a little more in tune with the world like this. But that simply does not work to our benefit. These bouts of idle agitation, the weird sinking feeling in your chest watching someone's life end in a video, the overwhelmingly negative content, is juice that is not worth the squeeze. By consuming these kinds of content regularly, which many people still do by means of traditional news, social media news content, or general happenings on the internet, you'll read about it everywhere, we prime ourselves towards observing the world as worse than it is. And we become what we have beheld on these platforms. This is no recipe for success, as we all should know. But we must make careful considerations for what we consume, because it should only be natural that what we consume, either physically or virtually, has its effect deep within our inner workings. You eat a sandwich and you expect your body to be affected by that sandwich in some way. It's the same with the content we consume. And while this isn't to say that avoiding negative content altogether is the proper approach, because an approach such as that lacks nuance, and the numerous shades of gray between our black and white thinking. There should be a time and a place. But I do not think it is best for such consumption to be a regular occurrence, such as watching the news every morning. There are far better alternatives that operate independently from the drawbacks of traditional news media. I've witnessed the effects of overconsumption of negative media myself, seeing as I used to watch the news and scroll online every morning. What is told to me through the news, however, is nothing but bad news. There is no joy to be found in these broadcasts. There is no happiness to be derived, because even if there was, because of the way we work and our attraction towards negative content, nobody would give much of a shit even if they posted it. All of this bad news amounts to a negative outlook on life. And knowing of this, I ask, is it worth it? Is a stream of nothing but bad things happening to people everywhere worth your time? Is it worth changing your mental state, perhaps? Is it worth the cumulative effect of making you a more negative person? I'd say hell no. There are much better resources to get any necessary information out of these broadcasts without the added negative outlook to then deal with. Instead of watching the news for the weather, for instance, you could just Google it. Use the weather app on your phone. You want to know maybe if your school's got a snow day or something. You Google it. You go on the Stop Our websites, all that. We owe it to ourselves to let ourselves live better and more positive lives. We owe it to ourselves to let go of the negative feelings and the pessimism that is so pervasive in this modern world. Because otherwise, what will we have? It is not worth wasting this short time we have alive and able to experience on having no optimism and no hope or expectation for an even better future. Because when I think of myself on my deathbed, pondering all of life's regrets, wasting the time I had on looking downwards in life will not be one of them, because it just isn't worth it.